Hey guys, it's Patricia from TarantulaHeaven.com. I have Miss Spidey right here. She is my G Rosea, and right now she's going to serve as my emotional support animal. I'm not sure how short or long this video is going to be, depending on how I do. I'm very heartbroken, and I'm sure that some of you knew this was coming. The jealous cat has passed on, and she has gained her beautiful angel wings. And I guess I kind of knew it was going to eventually come to. Of course, I knew eventually it would happen, but I guess I was hoping that it would be longer before I had to talk about it. And to be honest, I have avoided talking about it for several weeks. By the time this video comes out, even as I'm recording, it's been several weeks. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. So the last video I made about Ava, the jealous cat, was not a great update. I mean, of course, she was trucking right along, 19 and a half years old. And we had gotten some concerning information about her liver levels. They were much higher than they were supposed to be, and it was something that we couldn't really fix. You know, even with medications, there was a risk of throwing off all of her other medications, which she so desperately needed. And so a few weeks after that report from the vet, she just wasn't herself. There's maybe several days where she wasn't as interested in eating. She was kind of moping around. And that happens sometimes when you're an elderly cat. You know, you need a lot of rest. Sometimes you don't feel like eating. You know, sometimes she would get bored of her food because she had to be on a special diet for her kidneys. And, you know, even humans are like that, where like sometimes they just get sick of something and they just don't want to eat. So I took her to the vet, and you know, they were a little bit concerned. She had stopped going to the bathroom, at least pooping. None of this was actually unusual for Ava. With all of her health issues, with the kidney disease, constipation's very, very common. All of this stuff was common because she did have kidney disease. She needed fluids. Without the fluids, she was going to be very run down. So usually she would get the fluids twice a week. Usually, like when the day before the fluid, the vets were going to come to give her the fluid, she would have a slow day. So none of this was super unusual. She always bounced back. And so she did bounce back temporarily, but then we soon found ourselves in that same spot. And, you know, a few days before her passing, maybe like a week before her passing, I brought her back to the vet, and the vet is so incredible. Her vets and her vet clinic, I could not have asked for more. They gave me years more than what I would have had with Ava. She had had chronic issues for over 5 years, and I thought our time was up when she first got diagnosed with having a seizure disorder, possibly a brain tumor that was causing the seizure disorder. And you know, we never figured out what was causing the seizures. So I thought we were on borrowed time every day. And it made it more special, I think. And I got years more with her. I'm so thankful. And the vet was always so honest with me. They always took such amazing care. Even her techs that came and gave her the fluids. But that time, the vet said she was really worried Ava wasn't herself. Everybody knows Ava at the vet being a very sassy lady, a queen. And she just wasn't herself. And I kind of feel like I feel like I've been grieving on and off for 5 years, because every time she goes to the vet, there's usually something up with her health. And so, you know, I've had over 20 is this the time moments. And so I've always kind of like always kind of been in limbo in terms of like, you know, how much do I come to terms with? Because of course I didn't want to think about it being the last time. Of course I wanted her to come back and bounce back. You know, I talked to my therapist about it that week, and, you know, I was like, I just don't know if it's time. I just don't know if she's going to bounce back. And my therapist said, well, you will know because she won't bounce. And she was right. And so, you know, Ava came home from the vet. They gave her fluids. They gave her an enema because I had originally taken her because I thought she was constipated. She hadn't gone to the bathroom in like so long. And that's not unusual for them to do for her. Like, they've given Ava enemas probably more than 3 times over the last 2 years, just because the constipation would get bad. And she's had hard stools for years because of the kidney disease. But this time the vet said, she's not herself. I am really concerned. I think Ava came home with me after her enema and she seemed okay. I think for like maybe a day, but honestly, I'm really forgetting the exact timeline of events. I'm sure if I went into my emails back and forth from the vet, I could figure it out, but I'm not going to do this for this video. Anyway, so I ended up bringing Ava back maybe a day or 2 later because I was like, something is not right. I think maybe either she wouldn't eat again or something. Or no, I think she was acting strange. She was like, you know, going to the bathroom every 30 seconds, which was not normal. I mean, cats with chronic kidney disease drink a lot of water and their medications make them thirsty. So they do, you know, kind of go to the bathroom a lot, but this was not normal. And she was, you know, looking around. That's just not her. And so I brought her back and I told them what was happening. And the vet once again was like, I'm very worried. I think it's time to start thinking about like, what is the next step? Because we've talked before and we've said that like at her age, there's nothing much that we can do. And it's probably time. And, you know, the vet said the only thing that we could do, probably that would make sense, is to send her to an animal hospital or like an ER overnight so that she could get, you know, IV fluids. But the vet very much told me that I don't know if it's worth it because she's going to be away from you. She's not going to be home. It's just going to stress her out. And considering that Ava has a heart condition too, it's just not going to be, it may not be good for her at all to do that. And so you know, in talking about that, she and I both agreed that like, you know, I said that like, what I'd rather do is take her home and just see how the next 12 to 14 hours go. And that's what I did. And, you know, even after the vet had given her fluids before she went home with me, she just wasn't okay when we got home. And so I had been told about this organization called Lap of Love, which is, you know, another reason why I made this video is because I wanted to tell you about that organization because they do at-home euthanasia, which is what I ended up doing for Ava. I heard about them from my therapist who last year told me about them because she had to put her elderly dog down. And Lap of Love is really good. Not necessarily in an emergency because usually you have to make appointments few days in advance. But when you feel like you maybe do have some time and you just know that you're gonna have to make a decision soon, and they always say like sooner is better than later, you know, a day too soon is better than a day too late when your pet is suffering. They're really good organizations, so compassionate. They made this process so much less hard than it would have been if I had to do it any other way. And so since the next day at home, Ava was not doing better. And I started to see that like, I do not want this to get worse. I have always promised myself that from the beginning of her chronic issues that as soon as she was suffering, that was it. I did not want her to suffer. And the next day I made an appointment with Lap of Love. And it was really interesting because when I called them, my eyes, like Ava met my eyes. Her eyes looked into mine and it was kind of like I guess as soon as that person picked up the phone, it was like she knew. Not a spiritual person, but weird things have happened. And so I made the appointment. It was actually for 5 days out. That was their soonest appointment. And I was a little bit worried, but I was kind of like, well, I have other options. I researched all the ERs that were going to be open over the weekend and the 24-hour ERs. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make this appointment because I would prefer to her be at home to be euthanized in peace where she's comfortable. Ava hates the vet. It would just make this process so painful and stressful for her. So I really wanted her to, be in her bed at home with me, cuddling her, holding her, doing all the nice things for her. And I was just like, if things get rapidly worse, I will just take her to an ER. But if I can, if she's still okay, then, it's going to be a few days from now. They're going to come to the house. And so that's what we did. And she was actually not great for those few days, but not really declining the way that I was afraid she would. I mean, she was definitely declining, but it was not like I felt like she was suffering more or really suffering. She was sleeping a lot. She would kind of stare off into space a lot. She wasn't really doing the things that she usually enjoyed. I mean, as you guys know, Ava loves the shower water. She lost interest in that a few days before her passing. Had a few days where she wasn't really too interested in food, so I was like around the clock feeding her the tastiest foods. I took her off of her special kidney diet because I was like, I'm gonna let this girl have everything she wants. I made eggs for her, I made fish for her, I gave her carnitas, duck, chicken, cheese, all her favorite things, yogurt. She actually loves eating I actually got to spoon feed her some broth because that was the way we were getting fluids in her for a day or two. And I actually had one of the vet techs come over before the weekend to give her another round of fluids, her final round, just because I felt like it would at least help her get to the day and help her decline slower. And I think it did help. And I basically moved into the room where she was in. I mean, if you guys know, Ava has not been able to sleep with me because my boyfriend is very, very allergic to her. And so in the room that she would sleep in, I pretty much moved in and was like around the clock. I slept with her for like a week, and it was awesome because I got to really spend time with her. And since I work from home, I was able to observe her at all times, which was a blessing. And we spent a lot of time together. And, my baby just wasn't the same. She lost her little sassiness. I think over those few days, she only meowed once or twice, which is not Ava. You guys know. She is a vocal cat. Very tiny, but very vocal and very loud. And I think she only meowed once, and it was like a little baby kitten cry. It wasn't like the queen meow, demanding meow that I was used to. I kind of know what they say when like they say they're just not there anymore. Because it was like, she did have a personality, and it just wasn't the way it was. She did, I think on the final night, she did try to scratch her little scratching post, which she loved. She couldn't really do it because she was so weak, and she had lost even more weight, which was crazy because I don't think it was a lot of weight, but she was definitely weak. It was definitely time. I mean, she tried to scratch her scratching post. She did a lap around the house. I guess she kind of knew. It's just so crazy how they do sense something. And I think that night, like, I knew that tomorrow's the day. Not that I didn't really have any doubt in my mind because I knew that this time she wasn't bouncing back. There was just no way. And I stayed up all that night. Her euthanasia was at 2. and I was just a wreck. But I had some time to plan about how I wanted the euthanasia to go. I played bird sounds for her. I lit a candle. I had all this really nice like tribute shrine stuff, like pictures of her. I set up the area. I gave her all of her favorite foods before. Hey, baby. Got all the favorite stuff. We got some candles, nature sounds. A prayer. From a ring. Paw print. I love you. A bow. Her grandma. We have all her favorite snacks. Sorry, it's a blur. I forgot to mention that a few days before the vet came for the euthanasia, my sister came to visit Ava and say goodbye and spend some time with her. My sister brought some of Ava's favorite treats, which were very, very, very fun and nice for Ava. But anyway, back to the day. So Ava spent the whole morning very sleepy, resting a lot. And, you know, the reason I say they do sense is because the vet said he would call an hour, you know, or at least when he was on his way, an hour before the appointment. And she just knew, like, I didn't say the word or anything. He didn't say the word, but like she had been calm and resting the whole morning. But once I picked up the phone and he said I'm on my way, her entire temperament changed. She started to be very nervous. She started to pace. She couldn't get comfortable. That was very different than how she had spent the last several days with me. And she didn't want to eat anymore. I tried to give her some of her favorite stuff. I told my boyfriend to go out and get her a ham and cheese omelet. Like, ham, cheese, and eggs is like her favorite things. And she did not want to eat any treats after that phone call. And she was just, she knew. And it is completely possible that my energy changed and she was responding to that. But I was actually trying really hard to be calm for her. So I really don't know what that was about, but I really think that in some way she knew. And she just knew something was going to happen. And so the vet came. He was so kind, so polite. This organization is really good at what they do. And he set up, he allowed me to have several minutes with her. And I was just so thankful, even though Ava wasn't as calm or peaceful as I hoped she would be for it. She, I'm sure that she appreciated being at home versus having to be in the car and go to the vet, her least favorite place. And, you know, even her vets were so sweet. Her vets texted me, and my friends texted me. My friends sent gifts. I got so many beautiful presents. And maybe I'll include that at the end. And the euthanasia, or the euthanization didn't actually go as gently as I planned. In true fashion, Ava hates needles, so she fought the sedation, which sucked because I didn't want to have to like force her, you know. That was like really sad. I still have flashbacks about that occasionally, but you know, the vet was so good at being calm. I have since known that it's common for animals to, like, even though they're supposed to go, the instinct is to live, right? And so sometimes they do fight it, but it's just an unpleasant thing to go through. You have in your mind that you want it to be the most peaceful moment, and sometimes it's not like that. But once the sedation actually did kick in, they had to give her 2 rounds because she was fighting it. And that wouldn't surprise any of the vets or anybody who knew Ava, because Ava was very sassy. You can't get Ava to do anything she doesn't want to do. So once the sedation kicked in, she was very relaxed. And then, I got to lay next to her. I told her I loved her, gave her kisses, and she passed really quickly. And the vet made a paw print for me, and they put some fur in a little thing for me. It was so special. And they also take the pet when they're gone, which was something that I was relieved about because I wouldn't have been able to handle that. And I got her cremated. Lap of Love took care of all that arrangement for me. And so they made, because they were so gentle and they're so compassionate and informed about this process and how hard it is, they made the operation so smooth. They took her, they told me when her remains could be picked up, and they gave me this beautiful, they put her remains in a beautiful little box with her nameplate on it. And so I could not have asked for more. They helped me out so much, and I think I was just really blessed. And Lap of Love has online support groups that are free that I've been going to. I was going every week. My schedule has been a little bit weird lately, so I haven't gone in maybe 2 weeks, but I plan to once my schedule eases up. And that's been so helpful. It's actually going to be so grateful for my experience, because even though it was really hard and I didn't want to have to euthanize her. I mean, who does? But hearing what other people have gone through and how they've lost their pets made me really grateful, because I had almost 20 years with her. So I had so much time, so much precious time. And I feel like because she had so many chronic issues, I don't think I wasted any of that time. I think I really was like, I need to soak in every minute with her, because I don't know what the future holds for a cat who is elderly and is living a very long life and has so many chronic issues. And so I feel like our time together was very special. And so learning how other people lose their pets made me so grateful for just how our story happened. And so, as you can tell, I'm still struggling with it. I have dreams of her. I look at her videos and pictures every day. And she was my little soul animal. And I loved being her mama. She was the best. I'm really grateful to have Spidey, because you guys know that Spidey has always comforted me when I look at her. And even though I can't cuddle her like I cuddled Ava, I'm really grateful to have a very beautiful creature to look at and to take care of. I spent a lot of time taking care of Ava, and I was really lost when I didn't have to take care of her anymore. You know, her medications were a part of my daily routine. Her vet visits, her fluids were a part of my weekly routine. And so it took a while for me to feel like I was reaching some sort of new normal. It's really hard. Ava's my first, you guys know that I lost Blinky, my little Arizona blonde, but I had Blinky for a very short time, and Blinky never interacted with me. I've had Ava for so long, and she was always like my little baby, used to act like a baby, and yeah, there's just a giant hole in my heart. And so I guess that's what I wanted to say, is that Ava is a little angel now, and not physically here, but I know that she is around, whether in my dreams or in little flashes out of the corner of my eye. And I so appreciate just all your comments on her videos, and the nice things that you've said about her. I revisit her videos all the time, and I'm really grateful that I actually did make some videos on this channel about her, even though it's about tarantulas. I will be making not like a tribute video, but eventually I will make a video of like all of our videos together and publish it. I don't know when I'm going to get around to that. It's really about when I feel emotionally ready. And I want to share those. But also, we know that the internet is forever, right? And so I want to make sure that I have multiple places where I have these videos. You know, I've already uploaded them to a cloud drive. I have them on my phone. I would also like to have them on YouTube, one to share with you, and, you know, memorialize on the internet the jealous cat and all of her amazing moments. But I'd also like to have another place where, you know, I know that video is probably not going anywhere, and so I'll eventually publish that. So yeah, this video is very long. Thank you for watching, if any of you are still watching. I know that, you know, many people don't really watch the videos about Ava because this is a tarantula channel, but thank you for taking an interest, if you're still around, to Ava, the jealous cat. And I'm sure that she would want me to tell you that she appreciates all of your love and worship, as she would say. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, I guess. And I'll eventually make a playlist of jealous cat videos so that, you know, if anyone ever wants to know who the jealous cat is, if anybody stumbles upon this video in a year or two or whatever, so that they could see just how majestic and wonderful she was. Anyway, I'll be back next week with a much happier video. And if you've lost a pet, my heart goes out to you. It's the first time I've lost a pet that wasn't a baby tarantula, and it hurts a lot. And so my heart goes out to you. And if you do have a pet who has a health condition or is elderly, I highly recommend Lap of Love. I do not know how I would have managed without them, without their guidance and their help and their support groups. So yes, that is the final thing I wanted to say. I'm exhausted from crying. Yeah, take care, guys. And love to all of your animals and spiders. I hope that they're healthy and happy. And take care. Bye-bye.